And we're live! Okay. Let me just... Alright, so, I don't know who's gonna make this. And yeah, I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to do it. But for the replay, I thought I'd start off checking out the bonsai, because I think Callum was asking for an update. Now, not enough has changed for me to do another full update, so, let's just have a look at where they're up to. How do I change the camera around again? I'm gonna check that, hang on. So, I'll just show you where they're up to. At the moment, not much is growing, but here we are. So this is like the cuttings corner and a few things. A gazillion Chinese jade money trees. That's a failed experiment. There's also, where is it? I'm gonna do something with it. I've got my weed cups. This one is starting to fall over a bit. It's getting really tall. So I don't know how long that one's gonna survive on that little cup. Oh, the weed cup doing all right. We've got this maple that I just stuck into the ground doing all right. Yeah, I just stuck into the ground and started growing. So there you go. But the maple that it came off is not doing so well. You know, it hasn't, like, it's lost a lot of leaves, and not even like in an autumn. I think I maybe overdid the wiring on it. I think it's still alive. Let me just check what I can do about that. I mean, they're doing, but nothing is really growing at the moment. There's that weird one. I've sort of put them at angles because I'm trying to get sun onto different sides of them. So I think that's the twin trunk. It's really hard to capture on camera, some of this stuff. What's that one? That one's the windswept one. Once I took the wire off, it sort of bounced back a little bit, so it'll take some more wiring to really get it to settle into that windswept configuration, but not bad considering how much bending I had to do in the first place. So I'll wait until next season, I think. You know, the next season when these figs really start going. This is my informal upright. It's doing alright. You can see there's a lot of these crazy petals falling on them. Not really sure that I want to keep them in this corner at the moment, also because like the light, but I don't know where else I'm going to put them. Here's the sort of mixed foresty setting. Doing alright. Some branches have lost a little bit, but otherwise it's okay. And the azaleas are surviving after I hacked them up. Here's my Cascade junipers. They're the ones I really need to work on next, and I've just been putting it off for ages. So you can see some like dead branches I need to get rid of, and just like cleaning it up because they become very top heavy, and I worry that if I don't thin it down, it's just going to keep, nothing will grow down there. So there's two of them. I think that one's mine, that one's Mum's from memory. Hey, Impaler the Monarch, you're back. I'm just doing a quick look at yeah, so just quick bonsai update and then we'll get to chatting. So there's a couple more cuttings. More of the Chinese jades. This one I need to take the wire off. They don't really like the wire, it seems. So I don't know if it'll keep those shapes. That one's just gone crazy and bent over. I don't know, I probably have to chop it right back. This one, some of the wiring, once I took the wire off, it kind of into a, like this bit especially, turned the wrong direction. So that's a bit sad. Hey Danny, yeah, I know you. Yeah, I'm just doing a quick update on these guys. So this is one of the experimental ones, the fig root over a plastic rock. So I'll do a reveal video of that at some point so we can see how it's going. I just kind of want to give it enough time to really survive because it is such an odd thing. Here's my Chinese elm that died and came back to life. So there's the dead bit. And you can see all that where it's come up. But yeah, all of these things have stopped growing. So here's a Chinese elm cutting, and it's just, you know, whatever, and not growing at the moment. Twin tree Chinese elm setting, once again not really growing, which is a shame. But hey, we'll have to wait. It's doing all right though. This is the forest setting, which I think Callum was commenting on. Yeah, and I need to take off the wire and trim some of these crazy growths off. Sorry about the power tools in the background. Some neighbors doing something. Yeah, anyway, it's healthy, and this one does seem to be growing a little bit compared to some of the others, but yeah, I need to do some work on that. Here's my Chinese elm root cuttings, and I think that's everything. So, bonsai corner. Alright, let me turn this around. Hey, hey, it's my face. Okay, I'm going inside because I can't stand that bloody noise. Uh-oh. Hey, Opio. Huh? You wanted to play, didn't you? You're a little bit bored? Huh? You don't understand who I'm talking to, do ya? Gonna get a toy? Great, okay. Looks like we'll have to follow him. I'm coming. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? Pool noodles. We don't even have a pool. It's just Mikey likes them when he goes to the pool. Alright. Where can I set up? I didn't get my tripod out. Will this balance? Maybe. Okay. It's a little bit wonky, but that'll do, right? I don't have to sit in my room today. What? Were you gonna get a toy? Alright, come here. No, he's gonna demand a toy, but he's not gonna bring it to me. Oh my god, the lighting's nuts. Ah! Alright, so what's happening? Yeah. Alright, so follow up to last night's live stream, and I can barely even remember what we talked about. Wow, yeah, I'm sorry that, like, you know, put my arms into the sun and I just go completely white. Yeah, no, today has been really rough. So it's kind of the same thing I was describing yesterday, but I woke up at 2:30, I think, and I could smell fire. So I kind of freaked out because I'm like, well, it's just me and Mikey in the house, and if there's a fire, kind of fucked, because, you know, I'd have to wake him up and drag him out, and he also needs his medication, so I'd have to, like, grab his medication or whatever. But I got up, and I looked around. I even looked up upstairs, because upstairs is where the possum's been annoying me. And to try and discourage the possum from coming to my side where the roof connects to my bedroom, we turned on the light. There's a light in, like, the attic, and then pointed it in the direction above the little cavity that goes into the wall where it was hiding. Yeah, it would be bad if it was a fire, hey. But so I left that light on, and, you know, when my brother, like, when I've got two brothers, when Dave, before he left to go on this thing, he moved it into that position, and it was a little bit hot, so I was like, oh shit, I hope that light hasn't, like, exploded and caught fire. It's actually been on for, like, days. It's still on right now, just because, like, if the thing's living out there, I don't want it to have any relief. So yeah, I've been keeping that light on in the sort of attic space. We don't really call it an attic though. I don't know why, because I think technically it's an attic, but maybe there's a difference between attic and, like, roof storage, or I don't know. I've never actually looked it up. But anyway, so I went upstairs just to check that that hadn't caught fire. But it was all good, and then I googled, and it turns out they've been doing bushfire prevention burning up in the Blue Mountains, and I mean, that's miles away from here, but the wind has blown it in, and I think that's what I was smelling. Apparently it was really bad in the city yesterday, but because I'm always indoors, I didn't notice, and then it finally came. Hey, reflected tone! Yay! Yeah, no, the bushfire smoke sort of drifted over here, and I think that's what I was smelling. That's why I could smell fire, and so I freaked out a little bit. I freaked out a little bit that, you know, maybe there was a fire, but no, it's like miles away, all the way out west where the mountains are. So 2:30, that woke me up. And then I had to wake up at 6 to look after Mikey. Well, I had to open the door to let the carer in, and then I had to get up. I got up at 6:30 again to get ready, make his medicine, and have something to eat and all that, and I've just been so out of it since then. Hopi, did you give up on your toy? You can go get it, I'll throw it. I can still throw it and talk to people. he's not sure what to do. Yeah, so I had a nap from about 10 until before 12, so I've only sort of been up and gotten dressed in the last half hour maybe, which is pretty bad. But yeah, I was just like, I'm not gonna get anything done with my day, so yeah, let's do the live streaming thing. That gave me some incentive to actually put proper clothes on instead of, you know, just stumbling around in my pajamas feeling like garbage. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this afternoon. Dave's coming back so he can help with Mikey and I don't have to feel so stressed. I think just being stressed about the situation has sort of buggered up my sleep. But we've been surviving. There was no fire. I've given Mikey his medications. I've managed to keep his, like, he has a lunchbox that he has to take and all this kind of stuff. I think I've done that okay. I think not for today, but for yesterday, maybe I didn't put the extra nappy in his bag, but it didn't seem to cause any problems. I think they have spares at his day program anyway, but when I realized that, I was like, oh, I should have done that. So I didn't forget today. Hopi, what are you up to? Hopi, I thought you were getting the toy. Did I tell you guys about the lizard friends? The lizard friend who's been in here? I don't remember. I know I've filmed some video about the little lizard that's been in this room, sometimes sunbaking, but I don't know that I edited them and uploaded them yet. Anyway, so what else? Oh, the other thing. So before I had my nap, before properly waking up now, oh no, hang on, I'm getting myself confused. So you know I've been trying to do the Instagram thing, right? And I've been trying to find real people to talk to. Well, there's this one guy who sent me a message request, and I didn't realize until today that people on... I have a lizard friend, yeah, well, it's like, I think they call them a skink. So it's like the really tiny lizards, they're like literally that big. And it sort of just comes out. I don't know where it came from, and sometimes it sunbakes here. And like, I was a bit worried the other day because Hope and I found it in the hallway, and it seemed to be like wiggling really funny, but not really, like energetically enough, but not really moving. And I thought maybe it had been poisoned by like the pest control, whatever. I don't really know how all that works. And but no, actually, I think it just can't walk on the wooden floorboards because we've got some really old wooden floorboards. These ones are actually quite sturdy, whereas yeah, we've had some others. I don't know who remembers that we replaced one of our floor, like section of floor, but that wooden floor was like from after renovations, so the quality is not as good. I don't know, when they say they don't make things like they used to, it's kind of true. I'm sorry, the lighting's getting heaps weird because the sun's moving. Oh my god, maybe I should have just set up a tripod. Yeah, anyway, what was I talking about? The floorboards, the lizard! Oh wow, yeah, so this little lizard just comes out and sunbakes every now and then. I feel the warmth vicariously through that one. Bright glare. It's very cold in this office. Jealous of the ineffability. Yeah, look, I'm just shining today in the sun. Ah, burning! Yeah, I don't know where the lizard lives though, or if it's like surviving okay here. I don't see it. What's that? Is that a lizard? No, it's just a little bit of stuff, and I'm blind now. I'm worried about my eyesight. I don't think these glasses are really doing the right job, and I think part of the problem might be that I've been spending heaps more time indoors and looking at computer screens. But I don't know, because I've also been doing bonsai, although I think we've been working in the indoor part for bonsai more, whereas before we were working more in the outdoor. I don't know, I just feel like my eyesight's a bit crap, so I'm gonna go back to the optometrist, but I might go to a different one because I liked the Specsavers where I got these from, but the biggest problem for me is it was so hard to find frames that fit my face because, you know, I look white, but I have the squashy Asian nose, and so for some reason that Specsavers, they've mostly got frames in that have like, so you know, yeah, these things, right? Instead of having these ones on metal that are like really easy to adjust, they just have them like as plastic, like molded plastic or something, so they don't adjust, and if they don't fit on your nose, well, good luck to you. So mum's like, why don't you go to the one in this Asian part of town, because, you know, they'll have more Asian people, so they'll probably have one that fits your face. And I'm like, oh, okay. And, you know, I can still get you know, money from the health fund. You know, I pay private health insurance, which I'm still iffy about whether or not it's worth it, but hey, I don't spend money on much else. That would hurt. Yeah, I suppose if you're wearing crap glasses that don't entirely fit, you know, after a while it gets a bit annoying. These ones annoyed me for a bit, but hang on, I'm just gonna use this as a mirror. Am I still getting that little, there's like a little reddish mark there, but it doesn't seem as bad as it used to be, so I guess my face is getting, used to it. But yeah, I'm a bit worried that these just aren't doing what I hoped. You know, I asked them not to undercorrect me, but I feel like things are blurry, and I'm not sure if that's because the prescription's not quite right, or because my eyes are still changing because I have a shit lifestyle. Yeah, so I'm not sure, because I think I actually notice it the most at bonsai, because I spend a lot of time looking at things really close up in detail, and then suddenly I look up and have to look far away, and it's like, but if I take off my glasses to do that close-up work, because I can see to about there pretty clearly, and, you know, I could, but sometimes you need to move a bit further away, and then things start getting blurry. And then it's just because everything's dirty. I don't really want to put these on a dirty table and then have to put them on and off and on and off, and it's just like, it's a pain. Did I miss something? If they fit wrong, they would leave bad red marks. Yeah, no, these ones, like, they fit fine. It just took some adjusting to get used to, but I kind of had to do it in the end because my old glasses... Huh? What's up, Opie? My old glasses started leaving, like, it looked like I was having an allergic reaction or something to it. Oh, there's a fly, and he's chasing the fly. Oh my god. You getting the fly? Where's the fly, Opie? Get it! Get it! No, it's going out of view. Oh yes! Woof! Get the fly! I haven't taken him for a walk today, and when Mum's away, you know, when Mum's here, she takes him like twice, first thing in the morning before anyone's awake. I think she goes with Dad, and they go for like a walk at 5 a.m, and I'm just like, I don't function at that time of day. And then Mum takes him for another walk after sending Mikey to his day program. Hey, Hoppy! You want to say hello? No, you're still looking for the fly. I have a weird cat. There's a sad story how I ended up being gifted it. Get him, Hope. Get him, Hope! Get the fly! Get the fly! Get it! Get it! Get it! I like the Clubmaster frame by Ray-Ban, my favorite sunglasses. Okay, I don't really pay attention to brands, so I don't know. Ray-Ban, I think, is famous, but that's about all I know. So the weird cat and how I ended up being gifted it. I don't know if you guys remember my previous little dog, Max. Interestingly, Hope and Max actually have the same birthday, just like, you know, however many years apart. It was Hope's birthday, what's today, the 22nd? Hope's birthday was on May 11th, and I got him a cute little jacket. I should have made a video about that, but I didn't for some reason. But there's a picture of him wearing his new jacket on Instagram. It's just not cold enough today. I think yesterday was quite warm as well. But yeah, no, you're bored, aren't you? Hey, why don't you get the toy? Yeah, go get me a toy. Go on. Oh my god. Can I turn this so I don't have to sit in the blinding light? Hey. But yeah, no, Max, almost all our dogs have come to us in sort of interesting ways. I mean, the first one, Allie, we actually went to a breeder and got her. But the second dog, Max, he used to live on the neighbors on the other side of the fence, like not on the sides of us, but on the back of the house. And yeah, he used to come through the hole in the fence, and I'm pretty sure I've told this story before. And then Hope is a rescue dog, but his mum was the one who was rescued. It's a no-kill shelter. Apparently, other shelters won't take in pregnant dogs, or they'll put down pregnant dogs because, you know, if they let the puppies be born, then that's like a whole other litter that you've got to rehome. But this was one of those rescue shelters where they actually look after the pregnant dogs. And then Hope was a puppy when we got him, so he didn't go through any abuse. But then a year after that, we got Marley, who's the Labrador, who just can't be bothered to come out and say hi. He's from the same rescue shelter, but he actually went through some abuse. But he's lovely. Shall we go say hello to Marley? He's in my brother's room, because he's technically my brother's dog, Dave's dog. Hey, Marley. He just wants love. Look at this thing. Look at this blob. Hey? Hey. Oh my god. Oh my god, Marley. He's just chilling on Dave's bed. Alright, alright. And if you stop patting him for a bit, sometimes he does this begging thing. On the other hand, he also knows that he's supposed to pose for the camera, so he might take a while to move. He is heaps chill. Whereas contrast to this. What you got? Can I have it? Can I have it? Gimme, 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 gimme. No. You know, like he demands to play and then he just runs away. Whereas, hey, Marley. What you doing? What you doing, Marley? Oh, he'll be so happy when his papa comes home. Hey? Yeah? Oh. Alright, I'll leave you alone, dog. He's like, no, I want more cuddles. What are you doing, Hope? Gimme, 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 gimme. Alright, I think we'll hang out here still though, because yeah, I feel like I've been spending way too much time in my room. So I haven't missed anything while I was mucking around. Okay, that's alright. I should have just got my tripod out. Fuck! Fuck me out, dude! Oh my god, he's knocking over the bloody PlayStation thing. In this room, right, we've got this old Sony TV. Oh yeah, have we not really talked since the punk rave stuff? The punk rave stuff's been really fun. A girl who got human trafficked gave me her cat Mercy. She did security with me and wouldn't tell me what happened. People from the town told me after she went back to the bad people. Oh my god, holy crap. I've heard some interesting stories about like weird human trafficking stuff. That's really... keep forgetting to mention it. Oh, yeah, no, there's some dark stuff happening out there. So this TV, I can't see because all your comments are coming up on my screen in front of the TV. Okay, now I can see. So this TV, right, they got it just before I moved out. I don't know if some of you remember I moved out for like 9 months. Hey, Charles! Oh my god, dog. Sometimes when I say hello, Hope's like, who's there? Oh, and when I said who's there, of course, he goes, wait, who's there? Oh, and look who's joined us. Yeah. So now, by sitting between me, by sitting on the other side of the camera, I think it feels like I'm talking to him, so. Oh dear, Marley. What was I saying? The TV. Hoppy, can you like hush so I can concentrate and talk? No, there's a fly flying around, huh? Okay, alright. This is probably the problem with not sitting at my computer, because now the dogs are all like, why are you in this room? Glowing bright and white and all that kind of stuff. So they want to cause trouble. Anyway, the reason for this, so that TV that they got back when I moved out for 9 months, long story, question of the decade, why? Message retracted. Oh, okay, I didn't know that messages could be retracted. No, what? Oh my god. Oh, damn. Marley's given up on us. Okay. You're reminding me of some weird Instagram questions I got. No, I'm losing track. I was gonna talk about the Instagram stuff before, and then for some reason went off track. And then now I'm talking about this TV. But they got that TV ages ago. When did I move out? Must have been 2011 that I briefly moved out, and they got that TV. So that's how old that is. And then they wanted to, maybe like last year or the year before, they wanted to watch Netflix, and of course no one here can figure that stuff out. I don't really watch Netflix that much, um, but that TV is kind of old, and it used to have this box set up, but there was a thunderstorm and it like short circuited one of the things, so it's been through a lot. It's still working though, so good job TV. But the only way to get Netflix was to get the PlayStation 3 on the internet and do magic. So now my parents have actually had to learn how to use one of these to navigate their Netflix. It makes me giggle just a little bit because you watch my parents going no, 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 no. It doesn't look natural for them. So that's that. Anyway, so the Instagram thing. Yeah. So what this morning? I've had some interesting stuff going on Instagram because I've been trying to talk to real people, but I think I've been giving too many people the benefit of the doubt because I have had some weird stuff going through. And it's hard to know because some people, either because their English isn't so great or just because Instagram is set up in a very shallow way that doesn't really encourage real communication, some people, when they're trying to interact on your posts, instead of leaving a real comment, they'll just leave a gazillion emojis. And it's been hard for me to know like what the reason is for that, so I've been humoring everyone. But then there was one guy who like wanted to private message with me, and I've been private messaging with a few people just to see like what's what. I like those Netflix shows, Daredevil and Jessica Jones, but I bought the DVDs. I still buy DVDs. I prefer it because then I can watch it on my computer and I don't have to fight for TVs with anyone. I think this TV is also the only one that has a DVD player anyway. I think this one plays Blu-ray as well. We've got a Blu-ray player connected to like some old surround sound thing. It's not really the best room for it, but hey, it works. Yeah. But I prefer DVDs because my computer's so old it won't play Blu-ray, and I'm so blind that like I'm not gonna notice if something's a little bit higher res. Yeah. What was I saying about Instagram? It's better to own them. Yes, I love having a collection. It's the same thing with CDs. And like CDs, there's an objective, real quality improvement as well. And, you don't have to worry about copyright protection or whatever. You just have the CD and then you can always play it as long as you don't break it, kind of thing. What was that message I missed? I get a lot of scam messages. Yeah, I got a scam. I think I posted that on my Destroy America Facebook page, and I also posted it as a story on Instagram. I don't know who saw that. Shady people you give a chance when they can't speak. Do the live without glasses. Yeah, but see, if I do it without glasses, I can't see the screen to read your comments, so I have to get like this. Hey, 5:40 a.m., no sleep yet, upside down, smiley. Oops, hang on. And of course, I had to check YouTube before I tried again. The time difference is crazy. So that's how close. Do you remember? If some of you remember, like way back when I used to YouTube, I used to always be that close to the screen just because I couldn't see very far. Don't expect quality socializing on Instagram. That's for pictures, so you're going to get a lot of people fixated on looks and superficiality. Ha ha ha, yes. Yeah, no, that's that's the problem I'm finding now, because I'm trying to give people all the benefit of the doubt on Instagram because, sometimes it is a language barrier, and then sometimes, maybe there's a reason, maybe they're too shy. So, if you talk to them, maybe they'll open up a little. I'm sorry, the sun is really just moving a lot. And I don't like judging people too early. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe that's like a leftover Catholic kind of thing, Although I don't know if Catholic's the right thing. I don't know, something to do with my upbringing, don't judge a book by its cover, which I know is not really a thing that happens. People, like, I used to buy into that don't judge a book by its cover thing, and that's why I always used to wear trackies, but then at some point I realized people weren't really getting to know me, and I was getting really frustrated about that. This is well before YouTube. And so when I got out of when I got out of high school and started, finding out about Gothic culture and, well, Gothic fashion mainly. I'm not so into the music. When I started finding out about that stuff, 5:45 a.m. Oh my gosh, you guys are so crazy getting up so early, but thanks for hanging out. I was up around 6 a.m. and just absolutely dead. I'm not a morning person, so yeah. For some of you guys, it'd probably be better if I live streamed first thing in the morning, but it's not happening. I'm not that with it. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to judge people straight away, without trying to get to know them first. But I think I've sort of reached my limit with Instagram because, there was one guy leaving those comments and then asked me to message him. And, after I'd done some other stuff, I came back and was like, hey, well, he messaged me first. And then, I responded. But that conversation, I was trying to actually make conversation, but he'd just keep responding with things like little love emoji things, or I think there's like a built-in love emoji, a bit like the like button in Facebook Messenger, where it just makes this gigantic thumbs up thing. Yeah, and then I'd try to have a bit of conversation, but wasn't really getting much out of him, and yeah, and so it was either love emojis or like miss you, love you kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's just weird. Germany. Hey, hey. Yeah, and so, I mean, I did, after he kept going on and on and on, I pointed out to him, like, he's like, oh, I missed you and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but you're being really weird just leaving emojis instead of conversation. And from that point, he's actually started trying to have more of a conversation. So, but it's not really been anything that great at the moment. Like, what? He asked what I like to talk about, and that's always such a hard question. I've pointed out to him that I've got a YouTube with like all the things that I talk about. But he hasn't he hasn't even followed me on Instagram. So he's all like, I love you, I miss you, but won't follow me on Instagram. And I'm like, sure you do. So I'm not sure what his end game is. But yeah, and then what conversation, what food do you like? What do you drink? And I'm just like, I drink tea. I just started typing on these things recently, but I've been on YouTube a long time. I started messaging researchers, but some are foul covering up crimes related to incidents like how I got a cat. I feel like there's more to this story that I don't know. It's a little bit hard sometimes when you only get clips of stories and these things. But yeah, I think I've got a little bit of dog fur in my, I don't know if you can see a tiny little bit of dog fur. Anyway, so yeah, this guy, the last message I got from him was like, what do you drink? And I just said tea. So I don't know how that conversation is gonna go. You can only type so much, yeah. Well, on Facebook, I like Facebook because I can type for ages, like I was saying last night, like doing 1,000 word posts that no one asked for. Cause why not? I don't know. I like writing, which is really weird because I was better at maths in high school, and I actually failed an English exam was it an exam in year 11? I don't remember. And now my strength is writing. Like the moment I got out of high school, suddenly my writing was heaps better. So maybe it was just an artifact of high school at the time. They give you more room to explain. Yeah, I prefer Facebook over Instagram, really. I guess it's really hard to know if those are creeps or socially awkward or something else. Yeah, see, that's why I don't want to judge them straight away. So at least this guy, once I said, hey, you're being weird, he's actually trying to have some more of a conversation. Still acting a bit strange, but we'll see how long that goes. Because, I got to admit, I enjoy psychology. And some of the fun is just seeing how far some of these people will go before you find out what their real agenda is. So I will admit that sometimes I just go with it to see what's going to happen. But so, I was saying I woke up at 6 and then I was stuffing around on the internet and then I went back to bed. Same pattern as yesterday. And then, are you having a decent break from music? Also, you should remind people you have poetry books like a shameless, skilled YouTuber. Oh my God, yeah. Well, if I was gonna be a good YouTuber, I'd be trying to sell all the stuff, wouldn't I? Yeah, no. having a break from music has been good. I still want to do some updated covers, but I looked up in my videos, and the oldest Disturbed cover, I think, is that I'm Alive song, but I realized I haven't actually memorized the lyrics. That's not one I ever used to sing a lot. So I'm kind of like, oh shit, how am I going to do a cover of that when I don't really know the words? And also, I think the pitch of that one, I was singing along the other day, and the pitch is actually really bad because it goes really high, but I don't want to sing in that girly voice because I don't think it's. Hang on, I'm just going to change this. Oh no, I made it worse. Is that all right? Okay. Yeah, no, what, the pitch is really high, and I've changed the way I sing, and because it's Disturbed, I don't like that they removed DMs on YouTube. Oh my god, they did. They actually didn't remove it for a while. They just hid it. They hid the messaging system. And then what, on Creator Insider, they're like, hey, we're getting rid of this feature because no one uses it. And I'm like, it's because you didn't make it obvious where the hell you moved it. That's why no one's using it. I didn't even know it was still around. I thought they'd gotten rid of it completely. And then they're like, oh, we're going to get rid of this feature. And I'm just like, so that's how, if you're a tech person and you want to remove a feature, just make a change and put it somewhere else. And then, what's with the astronauts? People did use it to collab. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can't do on YouTube anymore. Hang on, I'm just waiting for your comments to fade so I can see. Okay, so yeah, these astronauts, that's my parents. They went to America, and I think they went to like NASA or something, like some kind of NASA thing, and then they got funny pictures. Yeah, they totally removed those features just to sabotage it. It's annoying. Yeah, my parents have been going on more holidays. They've gotten into the cruise thing, but they've also been going a few places. I wonder. No, that's not that trip. Yeah, I still haven't uploaded my cruise videos. I actually went on a cruise. We took Mikey, so they took me as well to help manage Mikey. That's why I play trumpet. I can't sing on key. Oh yeah, I was talking about the singing. Hey, so what, that I'm Alive song, I don't know what the pitch is off the top of my head. I don't have perfect pitch, but it's like starts off da 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 da, but da 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 da, and then it goes up to the chorus da 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 da, which when I'm doing chest voice, it's kind of difficult, especially some of the higher ones, like da 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 da. But if I sing in, I suspect the way I used to do it would have been in head voice, which is heaps easy for me. It's like la da 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 da, la da 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 da. It's so easy, but the thing is, because it's a Disturbed song, you want to sing with a bit more like, you know, punch, and you can't really do that with head voice. Not my head voice. I think if you're a dude and you're singing in falsetto, you can do that sort of power metal grit thing, which I'm just not. I haven't warmed up today, but you know, I've been in bed until recently. But I can do grit for chest voice, so how do I do that? But if you're doing head voice, no, I can't do it. It just sounds fucked up and it's not the right pitch. You need beats. No. I found a backing track for that song, but I've got to relearn the lyrics, and I've also got to figure out whether or not I need to shift the pitch, because I think I haven't actually listened back, but I might be singing it an octave up from him, because, you know, obviously being a chick, my range is different, but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's tough singing dude songs just because, like, my body is physically so different that I can't do it the exact same way. Like, I don't know, I'll probably do a cover of Voices by Disturbed, because that's one I really enjoy singing. But there's a bit in the middle, what, I can hear the voice, but I don't want to listen, strap me down and tell me I'll be alright. So I think the beginning of that is too low. So he sings it low, like, oh, I can feel the voice, but da 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 da. And then he goes up an octave, and that's how he gets the change. So what I'm doing, because I want to sing it in the same key, instead of going that low, I sing it first as if, like, I'm helpless, like, I can hear the voice, but I don't want. And then for the second half, I'm like, I can hear the voice, but I don't want to listen. So that kind of thing. How can you not need beats? I need all the beats I can find. Oh, okay, I might be confused about what you're referring to. I like music with a solid rhythm. I think that's sometimes why symphonic metal gets a bit boring because it's not as rhythmically interesting as some of the new metal stuff. But if the rhythm gets too complicated, then you lose me again. So like progressive. Oh my god, hang on, guys. He's just sitting there, chewing on the ball. Oh my god, Marley. He's so cute. Anyway, where were we up to? Something about music. Da 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 da. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the poetry books, right? So, for those of you who don't know, to write new songs to, you need beat CDs. Oh, like, see, I've got software, and it's got a lot of inbuilt beats, and then I just sort of shift them and change things up until I'm happy with it. That's how I did my, my EP. Oh no, actually, my EP. So on Bandcamp, I've got an EP. If you like Bandcamp, oh no, how do they do it? I think Bandcamp is like destroyamerico.bandcamp.com. I don't know, I get confused with all these platforms. So my EP on that, I think I analyzed a lot of other songs and then usually based my tracks on some other songs and then changed it up. But the way I would usually write music, I think maybe for Rainbow Death Ray, is I would get like one of the beats from my software and then mess with that until it fit like what I felt would go with the song. Yeah, so I'm all good for beats. The part that I struggle with is like the music and going from like one riff to another, and then I suck at guitar, so trying to make proper riffs is really difficult. And then yeah, I'm really bad at doing lyrics first, which is weird because I have written a bunch of poetry, but when I try and put it to music, it just sounds like garbage, and I haven't been able to work through that. What are we? I used to have good mixed head chest from A2 to A5, but nowadays I'm so bad, it's depressing really. If I could get back 50% of it, I'd be happy. Hey, Germany. Yeah, voice is interesting because, if you mess it up, it can be hard to get it back without like surgery and a bunch of training. That's why I'm really careful with how I growl. I'm trying to learn other ways to growl, but false chord is really where I seem happiest. Although I'm still like kind of asleep, so can I do a fry? Row! 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 I don't know. It still sounds like garbage to me. There is false chord. Row! It's just easier, I don't even have to put any effort into it anymore. Just, yeah. Oh, what did I miss? Drink tea with honey. It depends on where the problem is, because your vocal cords are way down here and it's like your windpipe. So if you drink tea, it's not going to reach the part that's actually got the problem and like the swelling and so on. You really have to see like a throat doctor or something. I've never seen one though, so I don't know for sure, but I guess go to like a doctor first if that's what's going on. But also some people, like, as you get older, your body changes and you just lose parts of your voice anyway, like the same way you lose parts of your hearing and whatever. Like, we all get old and all of this eventually just like crumbles, and that's why we age and die, because we haven't figured out how to stop that going. Yeah, fun stuff. What was I talking about? I was supposed to be plugging my poetry. Okay, so the thing about my poetry, and my friend who has the exhibition that I was talking about at the end, I think, of last night's stream, he uses my like lines from my poetry as titles, and then inspires some of his works, not all of them, but some of it, and that's really interesting. And he's always looking forward to me doing more poems. But I think with the last depression, that really threw me off, and it rewired my brain in some positive ways, but there are also some things that I now find harder to do, and one of them is poetry. I think maybe one of the reasons is like because I'm not depressed, I don't feel as much that I need to get out. But even while I was depressed, I couldn't write any poetry for ages. So I've got 5 poetry books. Each of them have 100 poems. And, you know, he's waiting for my next one once I get up to 600, but I think I'm only about halfway there. And it's not like it's difficult to write all these poems, really, because my rule is I handwrite my poems first, and the rule is once I've put it onto the paper, pretty much the only things I'm allowed to change is like spelling mistakes. Once it's on the paper, that's it, and I have to move on. That's how I write poetry. It's got to be like stream of consciousness poetry. Doesn't have to rhyme or anything. It's just like getting images out of my head onto paper. So depending on your interpretation, it's poetry. I didn't even used to call them poetry. I used to like cut off the word at some point, so it's like shorten it, like they're pose. Instead of poems, they're pose or something, because I didn't really feel like they quite counted as poetry, but some people like it, so yeah, and it's an interesting way to work. So you'd think I could just write any garbage and that'd be my poem, but I just haven't had the motivation since ages. What was that? Why do you feel depressed? Oh, I'm not depressed now. I've been recovered for about almost a year and a half now. But I went through a really bad depression from 2016 or 2015. It would have been when my grandparents died, so I think that was the end of 2015. And then I recovered at the very end of 2017 or the start of 2018, while I was in Japan, and you know I'd fixed up a few things in my life, and you know I'm still not entirely functioning, but I'm doing heaps better, and I'm not unhappy anymore. Wow, I've tried that, but I'm so self-critical I ended up deleting it. Maybe acceptance is the way to go, huh? Yeah, well, see, one of the things I used to do, I used to try and keep a diary, but I I think I've talked before about how I always feel a bit disconnected from past me. So then when I go back to read this diary, I'm like, who the fuck wrote this? Like, oh my God, I was so dumb, and I get embarrassed and I chuck it out. So one of the good things about writing my crappy poetry is, for one thing, you're not writing it in a prose form, because in prose form, it's easy for someone to tell what you mean. Whereas if it's a poem and you're using imagery, anyone could read that and have their own interpretation. They don't necessarily know what you were going on about. I think I've had a few more poems that got a bit more specific, but overall they're kind of vague. So that helps, because then you read it like 5 years later and you're like, I don't know what I was thinking there, but hey, whatever. It feels less like personal in some way. Like you're less self-critical maybe. And then for me, when I have rules, I think rules actually help me structure things. I do tend to break rules, but I also need rules. It's like this weird give and take. I don't know, maybe it's another one of these duality things, like rules and chaos. This is me, I have to have both. So, you know, that's kind of an interesting thing. And yeah, another thing, you know, like YouTube in some ways is a diary, but because other people have access to it, if I delete it, you guys are still going to remember, so that's less incentive for me to delete it. So same with these poems, once I put them out there into the world, someone else has read them, which means if I try and chuck out those poems now, too late, someone's already got a copy. So that helps stop me from just like chucking out all the stuff that I'm making. What helps you feel better? Is that why you started trying to connect with people online? Oh, no. So I've been depressed on and off my entire life. And it's had to do often issues of existentialism. So I grew up Catholic and then went through a whole atheist crisis. I became an atheist maybe in grade 5. How old would I have been in year 5? Maybe 11? I don't entirely remember, but when I went through puberty and went to high school and, you know, things get a little bit crazier there, that's when I really, the impact of no God, that's when that really hit me, and I was sort of like, you know, I've been told my entire life that I have some purpose, and then I sort of figure out that that's not true, and then I was just like, well, what am I doing? So I went through that crisis, and then, I think that sort of fed into all the more existential stuff about like what's the meaning of life, what am I doing with my life, and all that kind of stuff. When it comes to me starting YouTube, I I think YouTube was my first big attempt at any kind of social media, because I don't think Instagram was really a thing back then, or if it was, it wasn't really popular. So YouTube, I started, I don't remember, I think I just bought the webcam on an impulse. I don't even know how I found out that people video blog. And I just thought, hey, I'll do this. My very first video blog is still on YouTube somewhere. I don't know what, like, you'd have to scroll through ages, or if you can figure out the right search term. I don't remember what I called it. I probably just gave it a date, which doesn't help. The very first video blog, I'm heaps insecure, but then the day after is the first day I ever tried antidepressants, and I'm just like bouncing off the walls like an idiot. And I think that sort of set up this development into me as a person who can just turn on a camera and be like, hey guys, let's talk about random stuff and go on tangents and go raw and all this kind of stuff. So I think maybe I was a bit lonely. I was definitely lonelier back whenever. And yeah, I don't know. My whole history of YouTube is a little bit complicated in terms of what was going on in my head, but I think I just did it on an impulse. I was like, hey, I'll video blog. And then unexpectedly, I had no idea, people started responding. I think the ones that were my favorites for me were the ones who were like, hey, I'm also going through the same thing, you know, I'm so glad I found your stuff because, you know, it's nice to know that I'm not alone. And I think that was one of the things that made me keep going. And then, oh my God, I'm missing so many comments. And yeah, and just getting carried away because people were responding and I hadn't really had a whole lot of social stuff. Like, I was really socially anxious. I still don't hang out with friends that often because I'm just not like a real life social kind of person. And I've gotten better at it, but especially because I'm not in music at the moment, I feel like I don't really have a reason to go out. I don't really like going to the movies so much, and I don't drink alcohol, and you know, yeah, I like your lyrics, but sadly haven't checked out the poetry. Porn nose shame face. Oh, that's all right. Actually, with the poetry books, right, at the moment I've got 5 books, each with 100 poems. But the problem is, like, I was doing that gradually through lulu.com. I think you can find me on there. I've probably got a link in the description. You know, I've got all those links. There might be ones of the poetry. I don't remember. If there isn't, maybe I should add one. But so there's 5 books, and it's through that self-publishing thing. The problem with that, though, is when you make lots of little books, they take a bigger cut because, you know, like the setup costs and all that. So one thing that I've been meaning to do for ages is to combine those 5 books into one. So instead of having to get 1 to 100, 101 to 200, and so on, you could just get 1 to 500. And I think that'll bring the costs down so that instead of giving them so much money, I can just put out the one book. And then you don't have to worry about spending, what, $50 just to get that. I can squeeze it down, and I don't know how much it'll cost after that, but hopefully a lot less. And especially for Aussies, because I know the shipping costs are a bit crap to get those books here. Oh, and there was the question, what helps you feel better? That's a difficult question. Let me just check the other comments. I think that's a typo. Every something girl I know was sad or depressed, huh? Oh, every atheist girl was sad or depressed. Typo. Most got hurt or betrayed some way or had friends telling them to reject everything, to drink or smoke, but in the end don't replace anything with better comforting ideas. Yeah, see, I'm a little bit unusual in that I don't drink or smoke or do drugs or any of that stuff, which throws people off in the heavy metal scene. They're like, oh, you don't drink, so what drugs do you do? And I'm like, I don't do anything. It's not my thing. Social anxiety is one of my biggest problems. Yeah, the internet really helped me come out of my shell. There's a few things. So talking to YouTube helped me learn to talk to people in real life, because I just got practice talking. Sometimes when you're in a big group of people, there's always like that noisy person who keeps interrupting. So if you're naturally quiet, that makes things worse in a way, because you don't get practice actually talking. So I think that helped. And also my first job at McDonald's. McDonald's is kind of a shit job, but I had a really good manager. I got really lucky when I first joined. The manager, so I think he just knew I was shy, but he was also really good. So the way we started on my first shift is I would stand next to him while he took the orders, and then you know, once I got the hang of what the flow was, he moved over and stood next to me while I took orders. And then once I got better at that, he was still next to me, but he hid under the counter, so it looked like it was just me talking to the customers. And then once I was good at that, he just let me go by myself, and I was good. The next thing that threw me off, though, was the first time I said, "Hi, how are you?" And the other person said, "I'm good, how are you?" And I'm like, "You're not supposed to ask me." And that, like, not having the script for that interaction, I was like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. So that took me a while to get used to. But working in retail, as scary as it is for some of us who have been through social anxiety, it really did a lot to desensitize me, along with the YouTube practice. And yeah, but I don't know, my psychology's been really weird because it's changed a lot. I did definitely used to be more shy. I still have moments of shyness. But once you get me talking, it's hard to shut me up now. And I think maybe that's an artifact of YouTube. Maybe it's just me getting older, because both my parents have sort of said, oh, when I was, well, actually, mostly it's dad. When I was your age, I was shy too, and you just sort of get over it. Does this help? That's nice. Yeah. But what was the other question? It was like, what helps me feel better in terms of depression? Difficult to answer, because I used to be I think I was lonely but in denial. And that's why I was really interested in Pokemon and Digimon, because the whole idea is you have basically a friend kind of thing. And I think that's why I was into robots as well, because I was going to construct my own friend, maybe that was the long-term plan. Although there's also the world domination aspect where you create a bunch of Terminators and destroy everything, but that's another side of me. Did I miss a question, or I just keep? No, I didn't. So I think I was lonelier than I admitted. I was a little bit frustrated with some of my friends in high school, because they were, especially in high school instead of primary school. Primary school, I was fine. We all had the same interests. We all liked Pokemon and, playing dumb games out in the playground and whatever. But once you get to high school, that's when everyone's going through puberty, and they all went off to the school dance or whatever with the boys' school nearby, and then came back and they were all suddenly obsessed with boys. And I was just like, what is this? So I was a bit frustrated with that, because and everyone's becoming mature, and I still wanted to play Pokemon. Hang on. I had to basically be forced into waiting tables and getting dragged out to the end of week parties to really break through that barrier. Yeah, I still don't like parties. Parties are, what are you looking for in a friend? Well, see, I don't have this problem anymore, and I'm not sure exactly what changed it. So, I don't know, maybe talking on YouTube has kind of helped, because, I've got so many people to talk to now. And, I know some of you guys are shy and you wouldn't really want to be on camera, but you can still talk to me in text. So there's that. I think, being online really helped me in a lot of ways. Before YouTube, I used to write in a sort of like an RPG, but it's not like Dungeons and Dragons. Is Dungeons and Dragons the one where you have a battle master or something, or someone who controls the story? It wasn't like that. It was more like we collaboratively wrote a story, but we were each mainly in charge of our own characters. It's kind of hard to describe. So I used to do that a lot, and that was a way of socializing. I just found it easier to express myself online, especially in written form, compared to, in person with friends who didn't quite get me, and they were into stuff that I just had no interest in. I've always been a little bit different. I remember even in primary school, everyone was obsessed with the Brady Bunch, and so one day, this is back when I still had a really early bedtime. One time I asked my parents, hey, can I stay up and watch this show that everyone's watching at school? And my parents let me stay up, and I watched it, and I was so bored. So the next day my parents were like, do you want to watch that show again? And I was like, nah, I'm going to bed. Because I just didn't understand what other people were on about. Being around people is just learning by doing. There is nothing to it. Oh no, there is something to anxiety, and especially some people who are more on the autistic spectrum, they're not going to get the socializing as naturally as everyone else. And there's been some suggestion that I might be somewhere on that spectrum. I have my doubts, and I don't think it'd be useful even if I got a diagnosis, because I don't really have enough of an issue for it to count for anything. But I think if people, it's a spectrum, right? So if a lot of people who don't qualify for a diagnosis still have some of those traits. You know, that's just in a spectrum. At what point in its spectrum does someone qualify as having a disorder or not? Do you know what I mean? So there is some natural predisposition, and yeah, I don't know. What else was I talking about? The YouTube thing. DM Dungeon Master. Yeah, that's what it was, Dungeon Master. I played Dungeons and Dragons once with some people, and it was taking freaking forever. And yeah, it wasn't really my thing. I preferred the thing that we had. And he's at it again with a different ball, and that ball is... Oh my god, he destroyed that ball while I wasn't looking! Oh my god, Marley! That ball was a proper ball only a few minutes ago! Oh my god, he is so naughty. Oh my god, Marley. Look what you've done, dog. He doesn't give a shit. Oh my god, Marley. What do you want? You want me to throw a toy too? Yeah? You want me to throw a toy? Oh dear, oh my god. I was so distracted by talking that I didn't notice Marley completely destroying that ball. Where am I up to? I knew a person, Grim Dark Rose, who did something like on a game that she told me she was going to withdraw from Facebook and everything, then she deleted everything? Huh? Okay, I don't understand. It's a double edge that need to be alone while still not wanting to feel lonely. Social interaction becomes on my terms thing, which doesn't work most of the time. When I was a child, they misdiagnosed me as having ADD. Yeah, so with me and social interactions, I did struggle for a long time, but I don't know at what point that became easier. I think I didn't really start to make friends after high school until I went to the Australian Institute of Music. I tried 2 degrees before that, one at Sydney Uni, doing combined science and arts degree because I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then I went to COFA doing the undergrad arts program. Dark Waters, got it. Yeah, and then, and I didn't really make friends there. I made like maybe one friend who I'm still sort of in contact from COFA. He's a really interesting guy. Oh, you should look up Pirate Cop. I think by Glean, Glean is his first name. I don't know what name he uses on YouTube though, but it's this video called Pirate Cop. If I remember, I'll find this Pirate Cop video and put it in the communications tab later, because it's so bizarre. This guy, he's heaps of fun. And this video is just like, what is even happening? So you've got to watch this Pirate Cop thing. But basically, like, he was an interesting dude because in class, he would often speak with what sounded to me like a movie trailer voice. And yeah, he's an interesting guy. But that's maybe the only friend I made, like, only friends that I've kind of really stuck a connection with from COFA. There's maybe one other dude, but I haven't heard from him in years. But no, I started making more friends at music school, maybe because we were forced to work together more because, you know, we had to do that sort of band thing. Yeah, but then while I was in music schools when I met my ex, and that kind of threw my life into chaos because, yeah, it was kind of, I don't really want to talk about that. And then, you know, I tried the dating thing, but eventually realized, you know, I was right the first time and that stuff's just not for me. But maybe having that experience gave me a better look at how people try to socialize. And then, maybe my first band. No, I've tried a few different bands, but then, Winter Gaunt was my first real band, and I had to, like, try and talk to more music people because I was trying to organize things for the band. And then Rainbow Death Ray, I think, really kicked that into overdrive because, like, that was then my band, and I was, like, you know, I started it from scratch, and I was in charge of, like, pretty much everything. I took on too many responsibilities. But in trying to promote it, like, I'd get off stage after I'd packed away all my gear. I had the most gear even though I was a vocalist, like, you know, it wasn't good planning on my part. I should be the lazy one. But then I'd like try and talk to everyone in the audience, and you know, I'd just sort of run around gigs with our unicorn mascot and, like, you know, shove the unicorn mascot into people's arms and like ask to take a photo with them and the unicorn. And that, like, you know, I just sort of got better at barging into things and having an excuse to be social. That's one of the things, like when you're trying to start a conversation, it helps if you have some kind of excuse. And mine was like, I just finished performing, I'm high on adrenaline, I've got a unicorn here, can I take a picture of you on the unicorn? And I just like acted like a complete nut job. And in every photo I'm going, because I didn't know, I'm so awkward about smiling. It's really hard for me. Even now, taking a photo, I don't know what to do with my face. So back then, the way I dealt with that was like, okay, I'm gonna look stupid no matter what. How about if I make it intentional? You know, if I look stupid on purpose, then when people are like, oh, you look stupid, I'm like, yeah, that's the point. You know, talking about that is making you smile. Yeah, it's kind of amusing. Like it was an interesting point in my life. But it ended badly because I burned out when we did the Rainbow Death Ray EP, because I was doing so much work for that. And then my grandparents died, and I just sort of, there was too much on my shoulders already. Like I was working essentially a full-time job, like not full-time hours, but the equivalent, you know, I was getting paid the same as the previous person who was working full-time. I just didn't have to be there so much because I was faster at it. So that's the closest I've ever had to a real full-time job. But, you know, a pretty much full-time job during the day, doing all this band stuff at night, every day pretty much. And then there was just nothing left in me to handle a disruption to my life. And that's how I ended up really badly depressed instead of just my usual depression. Yeah. And I think this most recent depression, because it was so long and so deep, and the issues, it was different to in the past. In the past, I think a lot of my depression was to do with a little bit of the existential thing, but also I was in situations that I wanted to get out of, because, you know, I'd been disappointed in some way. So like the first uni course, I realized like I really didn't like maths and I really didn't like what I was studying. And, you know, that was a 5-year degree. I just sort of, you know, I guess I felt trapped. And so I got out of that situation. And then I was like, well, now what am I going to do with my life? And then I decided to go to art school. And then I was like, I have hope again. But then when that disappointed me, then I kind of collapsed again. And that used to be more of the pattern of my depression. But this last depression, I collapsed under pressure. It was much more a biological depression as well. And I don't know, I haven't really fully analyzed what happened with that. But I don't know, I just stopped being able to enjoy stuff. And so I think that, oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it was a rough time, and it took me a couple of years to get through it. And I think in that process, my brain was rewired. And I think since then, you know, that's changed again how I react to social situations. Reason to be inside makes sense though. Yeah, well, see, I think the grandparents dying, along with all that pressure, was more of a trigger. But because it was, I don't know exactly why that made it a worse depression in the past. Because usually it would only last, what, 6 months maximum. But this was a 2-year. Like, I actually, if you watch my video, Melancholic Depression and Dysthymia, I think that's the one where I talk about having double depression. So I had melancholic depression and dysthymia, which I didn't know you could have together. But if you're depressed for 2 years, it counts as the long-term depression. Did you like working at the Kodak shop? I remember you wearing the Kodak shirt in your videos. Oh, the Kodak shop was all right, but towards the end, you know, film was going out, and so the business just wasn't doing so well. And, you know, I could see that. That's why I, you know, started looking for other jobs and eventually went to Officeworks, because, you know, they couldn't give me enough shifts at Kodak, and it just felt like the business was going nowhere. Like, I'd go in and just sort of twiddle my thumbs, because really, towards the end, there was hardly anything to do. But that's where I learned Photoshop. You know, I think in hindsight, I realized that the the original version of software he gave me was probably a pirated crap. But I since went and bought a legitimate copy, which I still use. I'm so glad I got it when it was CS6 before they got the Creative Cloud thing, so I don't have to pay a subscription for Photoshop, because I hate that whole system. And CS6 is fine, I don't need any fancy new features because I'm not a professional graphic designer or anything, you know. Yeah, anyway, I was trying to figure out how I became better with the social stuff. I think maybe the last depression, I just stopped caring about a lot of things. So, you know, in some ways, maybe it's sad that I don't care about stuff. Like, you know, the whole destroyer thing as well. Oh, actually, I think that died a bit earlier. That's another long story. But yeah, this depression, there's so much that I kind of just stopped caring about. And on the one hand, yes, it's sad that I lost interest in a lot of things and some, you know, whatever. But on the other hand, by not caring about stuff, it doesn't affect me as much, you know? So I do still get a bit nervous in social situations. It depends a bit. Like, I hate having to make phone calls to people and, yeah, going up to talk to someone without having any particular reason to. I find that difficult, and sometimes I have to psych myself up to talk to someone. But it's a lot easier than it used to be. I've figured out how people work a little bit better. I've also figured out that most people are also ridiculously shy, so, you know, someone has to start the interaction. Yeah, and I also just kind of don't give a shit. If people don't like me, who cares, you know? I don't need them. Where are we? My ex-fiance used a free program to do comics and color art with me. I still have paint.net. That one's fun. That one's fun when you use the brightness and contrast. So if you, where do I use that? Actually, my profile picture for YouTube and Facebook still has, you know, I constructed that big face with lots of little faces in it using PaintNet. Like the little faces I made in PaintNet by increasing the contrast to max and then playing with the lighting until the faces looked how I wanted. And also, if you look on my Instagram profile picture, which is the same as my personal profile picture, because it's connected or something, that little profile picture was also done in PaintNet, because Photoshop's nice, but sometimes the effects are a little bit too nice, and sometimes you want more of a grungy edge, so paint.net is a fun program to be able to play with some more full-on, less subtle effects. So, yeah, I use that. Oh, did I finish the Instagram story? So after I woke up, having had my second sleep, right, okay, so I roll over and I check Instagram. And there's a private message, but it's a message request. And I look at the message request, and all it has is like the little heart thing, and then it has a picture, but it says you have to accept this message to be able to see this picture. So Instagram's not going to show it to me unless I accept. And I was like, this person is just messaging me out of the blue with a love heart and sending a picture. I'm like, I'm going to try and figure out what this is about. So instead of accepting, I went back and checked my notifications. And this dude had liked 4 of my pictures and left a bunch of like love heart and kiss emojis on it, but also had started saying, I can't check because it's on my phone, but, you know, saying things like, love me and I love you and all this kind of stuff, like really weird messages. And that's it, like just love hearts, love hearts, love hearts, you know, love me kind of thing. And I'm just like, I've been trying really hard on Instagram to reply to everyone, to like everyone's comments and whatever, but this guy was just like, I think if he hadn't sent me a message, I maybe would have just played along, but the fact that he sent me a message and then sent a picture first thing, right? I declined that message, but who wants to bet that he was sending me a dick pic? I've never been sent a dick pic. I've managed to avoid that. But he had a crush on you. Stranger danger warning on that one. Well, see, the thing is, this is another guy who didn't follow me on Instagram first. If he had followed me on Instagram, then he would be able to send me. I mean, I had to look this up later because, you know, I wasn't sure how this worked. But apparently people have to follow you first before they're allowed to send a message without going through that message request filter. So he never followed me, but he's saying he loves me and all this kind of stuff. And then he sends me a picture. I bet you it was a dick pic or something inappropriate. And I was just like, I am not going to accept this message. I am not that curious that I need to see what picture you're sending me when you can't even, you know, like,
say something. Don't just send a love heart and a picture. Do you know what I mean? Like, you seem so fake. If it wasn't a dick pic, it was probably just like, I mean, he could have been a robot for all I know, because he only engaged in emojis and short, meaningless messages. And I was just like, so this is the point at which I'm going, right, I'm gonna put my foot down on this one. I'm done accepting weird messages on Instagram because it's the same crap I used to get on YouTube. Although no one on Instagram has yet asked me about my glasses or my feet, so that's a plus. But yeah, I don't know. It's freaking weird. How could they find you to do that? Huh? I'm not sure what you mean. About which thing? Find me to do what? Yeah, no, I've been trying to be tolerant on. I've been keeping up with you for 10 years already. Yeah, some of you guys have been hanging out, but that if you have been watching for like 10 years, then you know some of the weirdos I used to get. This weird pic like emoji guy. Oh, okay. Well, I've been trying harder to find people on Instagram to talk to, just because like I'm trying to learn the platform better, because with the punk rave videos and me sending them suggestions and then them letting me be a social media intern, you know, like I feel like I need to learn a bit more, because this could become a job one day. You know, like the whole idea of being a social media kind of person. I'm not a huge fan of social media because a lot of it's so fake, but I'm enjoying the psychology of it. You know, the way people use stuff. It's kind of interesting to observe all this garbage that goes on, especially on Instagram, which is such a shallow platform, and watching the ways that people interact. I'm finding that interesting. But yeah, because like the social media thing, if I wanted to make that into a job one day, I could potentially work from home, and that would suit my lifestyle so much better if I could just sit at the computer like I always do anyway. I'm almost always on social media anyway, even though I don't really have anything to do there. So I've been looking at the Instagram thing, and that's why I've been trying lately to figure out how to find real people on Instagram instead of like robots and whatever. So yeah, I've been actively like, you know, looking at people, and you know, a lot of people have dog pictures, and I kind of can't resist. I have to like their little dog pictures, and then they notice me and they start looking at my profile, and it just happens that I liked the dog picture of a weirdo, you know, and then they start sending me these messages once they've seen my profile, I guess because I'm a chick, so, you know. Oh, hello, Peter. Welcome. Yeah, it's going to be hard for me to summarize where we're up to, but I've still got heaps of time, so if you want to chuck me some questions, I've still got 50% battery and it's only 2:30, so we're good. Yeah, anyway, I've sort of gotten sick of the Instagram accepting everyone. I think I'm going to be a little bit more critical of who I talk to now, just because like it's gotten a little bit frustrating. Especially like this guy. I guess like this guy has probably ruined it for everyone else who wanted to talk to me on Instagram, because, you know, there's always a tipping point for me where I'm just like, right, I've had enough of this. And here's the tipping point. I'm now like, no, I'm going to start being suspicious of people the same way as back when I was having problems on YouTube with fetish people. Yeah, I'm going to say sometimes when I look at the analytics on on YouTube, you can actually see which bits people are rewinding, and sometimes it's hilarious. Like the glasses video, the bits they rewind for that, you know, they're obviously most interested in how bad my eyesight is, and I just think that's really weird, but it's amusing to see which bits they're rewinding. What are we saying? Stay away from the creepers. Yeah. It's just like, as I was saying like an hour ago, I don't really want to judge people too quickly, because, you know, you don't really know their situation, and I try to keep an open mind, but at some point you have to be like, you know what, I'm done with this. So yeah, after that guy on Instagram trying to message me a picture, I was just like, yeah, I don't know about this, because I've managed to get through my life as a female online without ever being sent a dick pic. So, you know, I think if Instagram is going to protect me from that, I will go with it. Yeah, the feet people. Oh my god. The annoying thing about the feet people though is because I was going through a violent time in my psychology. So when they're like, "Can you step on this?" I was like, "That actually sounds like fun." But when I find out that their motivations are exploitative, that's when I get annoyed. Okay, so you're drawing weirdos. That's funny. But the odd thing is to create an audience. You have to, but you also have to separate what they are to you in advance. Yeah. And you know, I've been online for ages, interacting through YouTube for ages, like showing my face, and all that. So I've gotten really good at sort of realizing that some people are just always going to be weird. I don't have to agree with everything that people are going to try and say to me. I don't have to take it personally. So I'm all good with that. There's always going to be trolls. I actually don't get trolled very much these days. I used to get quite a few, like, oh, when I used to do headphone singing, and I think, was it 4chan where they were having a competition of like how long can you last before laughing? I had to block them from doing comments because like I didn't know what 4chan was, and suddenly there's all these people making strange comments, and I panicked, so I blocked them all. I think I actually unblocked them a while ago because I was like, I don't even remember who I've blocked at this point. But yeah, no, I panicked a bit when that happened because I didn't understand what was going on. These days, I think if that happened again, I'd be better at knowing how to respond. But I don't do as much weird stuff as I used to. I think I've got one headphone singing video. You are on early this time. Huh? Me? Me, or are you talking to someone in the comments? Usually I actually do, I usually do live streams around 2 o'clock because that's usually when I have time. Right now it's about 2:30. We've been going since about 1:15. Oh, yeah? So this is actually my normal time for live streaming. It's just last night, because I had the house to myself, apart from Mikey who was asleep, I actually had an opportunity to do a live stream that was better for Australians, and I think in Europe it was lunchtime. Last time was 3:30 a.m. Yeah, so it wasn't so good for you. Are you in America? I think it was bad for America, whereas my usual live streaming time is actually really good for America, and not so good for everyone else, because people have to get up early, and yeah, me not being a morning person, I couldn't get up early to watch someone live stream, so, you know, good job everyone for getting up early. Although I am trying harder to be a morning person, because once I do get up, I think I've talked about this in another video, in the South California area, an hour north of LA. Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to LA a long time ago, but I'm a little bit vague about the geography of America. Yeah, anyway, so hang on, I've forgotten what I was on about. I'm tired. No, I'm trying to become a morning person. And I think I mentioned that a few videos back. And actually, once you get going in the morning, you know, you can do more with the day. You can get, if you can get through the brain fog, then you can actually do a lot. And I can record more videos because, you know, I have the space to myself some days. Not every day, but yeah. So I am trying to become more of a morning person, just so I can manage my life better. Because, yeah, if I don't become a morning person, then I waste some of the time that I have to myself where I can be doing all these different things. Yeah, and a lot of people seem to think that getting up early makes them feel better. Mornings, go work out first, that'll get your blood going. Yeah, see, I tried that back when I moved out, and you know, where I moved out to, there was sort of a river, and so I'd go for really early morning walks along the river and then go up to the bakery and get like a chocolate croissant and bring it back for breakfast. But that never really made me feel good. Although my time there was kind of shit. I was living with my ex, like the first guy I dated, and you know, once I moved in, I think that's the turning point when he really started to treat me shit. As long as you announce the streaming time so people have a chance to catch it. Yeah, I'm not really good with that because sometimes it's sort of an impulsive thing to stream. I don't always know when I'm going to do it. But because I knew that I was going to have time last night, I was like, right, I can plan this. And then last night, some of you guys were like, yeah, stream tomorrow. So here I am. I managed to be conscious. Oh my God, Marley. Marley, okay, I'm just gonna, give me a moment. I'm gonna throw out this bone because I don't want Marley to splinter it and get a bone stuck in his throat, so. Give me a moment. Excuse me, Marley. Where's the other part of this bone, dog? Oh, now you're worrying me. Oh, here it is. No, guys. No. Dear, oh dear. Alright, sorry. Did I miss any comments while I was doing that? That was Hope's birthday bone. Oh, did I talk about his birthday bone on Instagram? I don't think I did. Is that where the smog is close to Mexico with no snow? We are in the middle of the map here with 4 seasons. Yeah, when I went to LA, it was, it would have been November, so it would have been close to like sort of that winter period, almost winter for America. And LA was quite warm. It was fine, you know, I didn't get cold. And the weirdest thing was like walking out in the sun and not feeling like I was getting sunburned because I'm so used to the Australian sun. But yeah, LA seems a little bit like Australia in the sense that, well, Sydney doesn't get snow. You have to go a bit south to the snowy mountains. Haven't been there in a long time. But yeah, LA seems a little bit like Sydney in the sense that it doesn't really get that cold. I mean, I will still complain about being cold, but compared to like, say, Japan was pretty cold and it hadn't even started snowing by the time I left. Yeah. But it's been a long time since I've been to America. Hopi, what are you digging? Oh my god. What? Huh? Oh, it's a fly. There's a fly stuck in the couch and oh, I think he just tried to eat it. Gross. I just ate, waiting for stomach to settle, then I'm going to work out. It's 9:40 p.m. here, less people at the gym at night. I know mostly everyone, so don't like working out and just being just as social. Oh. So like instead of working out, they just want to chat. I did a belly dance class once and the beginners part was fine. I still have some of my belly dancing stuff. The beginners class was fine, but when we got up to the next level, the intermediate class, it was just full of the local mothers who just, instead of dancing, like at some point they'd just gather into groups and start chatting, and Mum and I were taking the classes together and we're just like, what is this shit? We're here to dance, not talk that crap. You have to throw snowballs during the first snowfall once in life, it's tradition. Oh well, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I have been to the snowy mountains. I haven't been in a long time, but I've been skiing down there. Too many women, too many distractions. Oh, okay, that's not a problem I have. I did have a gym membership for a year, but yeah, I started off well, but you're not supposed to go when you get sick, and I kept getting sick, so I sort of lost the habit. And initially I liked some of the classes, but then because they're just sort of drop-in classes, they're not ones that have a consistent following. There's no progression, so you're doing the same essentially beginner thing every damn time, and I got really bored. And then also at the time, you know, I've got low blood pressure, and at the time I was struggling with that a bit more. So doing yoga, upside down stuff, it'd just make me feel really dizzy. And then also because I'm underweight, and I was worse back then, I think I didn't realize at the time that the medications were making me not have an appetite. So when I first joined the gym, they gave me a personal trainer to like show me how the gym works and help me figure out a routine. And I said, look, I'm here to get fit. I don't want to lose weight. Like I can't afford to lose weight. And so they showed me a way to train to, you know, get fit without losing weight. But it was such a frustrating set of things that I had to do, like to make sure my heart rate didn't get too fast. And it just gave me the shits, and it wasn't stimulating for my brain, and the music at the gym is crap, and I don't know. I look at the pictures in the background. Do you have astronauts in your family? Oh, we talked about this before. So Oh, I can't see because your comments are in the way, but the astronauts I think are around here. Yeah, no, that's went from when my mum and dad went to America and they went to some NASA thing. So yeah, that's why they have those pictures. And it's pretty funny. What else am I missing? Yeah, you got to switch things up. Yeah. Oh, you've worked out my height and weight in imperial. Is that what that is? Because yeah, in Australia we don't really pay much attention to you know, American style weight and all that. It's always kilograms and centimeters. Yeah, I don't know. America's weird sticking to the imperial system. Um, to bulk up, eat peanut butter and burger steak as you work. As you work out? As you work out? Are you crazy? I do tend to have peanut butter on toast in the morning. But yeah, while I'm working out, I don't know about that. Although this morning I had Pop Tarts because I was just like, I'm dead. I do not have the patience to, you know, make proper food. And I've sort of like, I just got the shits. You know, I've been trying to eat the bread in the house, but because I'm the only one here at the moment, there's just not enough people to eat the amount of bread that's there. All the bread is now past its expiry date, which, you know, is fine. Like, it's not stale yet. They have to legally put an expiry date, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. But, you know, the longer I leave it, the closer it'll get to going bad for real. So I've been trying hard to eat all the bread, and it's just like, this is me. I'm only this size. There's only so much I can eat. And because today, after being really tired yesterday and then really tired today, especially smelling fire in the middle of the night, I was just like, I'm not eating bread. I don't have the energy to put peanut butter on toast. I'm just sticking some Pop-Tarts in the toaster and there you go. Just be unhealthy. But I did put veggies in my lunch. So I had some rice. It was fresh rice because I forgot to turn off the rice cooker this morning, which is good for me. I'm annoyed that we're stricter about the rice cooker these days. So I had rice. I microwaved some frozen peas, added in some rice, and then I had tomato sauce, bulldog sauce, and Japanese mayonnaise and mixed it all up, and that was my lunch. So probably not the healthiest thing, but it had veggies in it, which I fucked up last night. I forgot to have veggies with my lasagna. So at least I had some greens. Yeah, I think most, actually, I don't know about America really, but I know that America, you know, you kind of need to learn both, especially if you're like at NASA or something, because, you know, international units tend to be metric, and if you fuck that up, then, well, your Mars rovers and whatever don't work, do they? But yeah, for Australians, because we don't use the imperial system here, there's not really any incentive to learn both. Although I think with Pokemon, right? Pokemon cards, the Diglett card, I had it in Japanese and English, and of course the English version was Americanized. So on the Japanese card, I'm pretty sure Diglett was 1 kilogram, and then on the American card, I think he was 2.2 pounds. So, I mean, is that right? Is 1 kilogram 2.2 pounds? Oh, is it? I don't know. That's the only kind of like metric to imperial conversion that I even kind of know, and it's only because of Pokemon. And I was looking at them going, huh, I'm different. Oh, you know, as a kid going, what is this LB? What does LB mean? I had chicken shrimp with noodles stir fried. Yeah, that sounds healthier than what I just ate. I know the fractions metric is so much easier. Yeah, metric is. Oh, Ben and Jerry's ice cream and drink Coke. There's a Ben and Jerry's in. I've been to the one in Chatswood, and we had like the cone, and the cone, instead of being like a regular waffle cone like you get somewhere else, it had the chocolate, and then it had hundreds and thousands. I don't know what you call those in American, but around the edge. And oh my god, I think we struggled to eat it. You're skinny, you can afford to be unhealthy. To some extent, yes, but being skinny doesn't necessarily mean healthy. it means I'm less prone to certain diseases compared to if I had too much weight, but I'm still not 100% healthy. There are problems with being skinny. And then there are some practical things like, for example, my blood pressure problem, my blood pressure being low, it wouldn't be that low if I had some more weight on me. So then when I stand up, maybe I wouldn't feel dizzy. And then also with singing, having a little bit of weight to you can kind of help with like power and also like the size of your lungs, because like I'm small, so there's only so much I can do with my voice physically. There's a point that I can train myself to, but at some point I reach a limit, you know. And I did have, when I was struggling to eat, my doctor kind of implied that I could just go to McDonald's like all the time. Because at least I was eating, I guess. But these days I'm doing better with eating, and like not being on Cipramel. Once we figured out that was destroying my appetite, and then I went on to a tricyclic, what was it, NDEP, and that increased my appetite, and then I had to stop taking it. So I got up to, what did my weight get up to? I think the most I've ever weighed was 54 kilograms, and now I've sort of settled back to 52 most of the time. It drops sometimes, but 52. I like to say I'm 52. It sounds better than being 50 for my height. But yeah, no, I've gotten a lot better at eating. I still struggle sometimes. It depends on what we're eating, because I'm picky about taste and, you know, and texture. And if it's the wrong combination, you know, it can destroy my appetite anyway. But I've gotten a lot better at eating, so I'm much healthier than I used to be. Where are we up to? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay. Might sound weird, but it helps you get stronger. Trust me, eat that. Drink water, then work out. Lift 15 reps to get strong. Yeah. Okay, so Impaler the Monarch. I don't know if you're a guy or a girl. I will tend to assume guy, because mostly guys dominate YouTube in terms of viewership. I think because girls are doing other stuff. I don't know. And then also me being a girl, I'm not really. Yeah. If YouTube analytics think that my viewership is 100% male, and I know that's not true. I know for a fact that's not true. But hey, if the YouTube analytics want to be biased. But yeah, no, the thing is, with me being a chick, I don't have the testosterone to be able to turn protein into actual muscle. I've been doing sit-ups and push-ups and whatever, and it's not really, I'm not progressing. Yeah, it's not happening for me. I suppose there are some things I could be doing more, like I could probably consume more protein, but my body's just never going to be efficient at turning it into muscle. That's just a fact of being female, regardless of what anyone else wants to say, because I know there are some people who are like, biological, blah, blah. Let's not get into gender. Oh, I'm correct. Is that under 1 kilogram to 2.2 pounds? Aircraft in the US are still in standard. Do you mean imperial method? Imperial? Because no one here calls it standard. We call it imperial. She is small, so she have to bulk up. I survive on ramen. I prefer udon. There's a video of me cooking udon. I need to update that though, because we got the... I don't know if I've mentioned, because I've sort of been keeping it a little bit hush, but we've got the kitchen redone, and so now we have a new stove, and so I might update my udon video at some point. Yeah, I think it's like lazy cooking for useless people, because I'm not very domestic. I'm not very good at being a chick. It's better than having high blood pressure. Yeah, low blood pressure is definitely better because it is healthier. What I told her will bulk her up. Yeah, the more you work out, the more you'll eat. The people that are fit actually eat more than fat people. I think it depends. But yeah, I have heard that working out makes you hungrier and, you know, you burn a lot of energy. So my brother actually, not the disabled one, my brother who's the teacher, he eats a lot of junk food, but so like sugar and stuff and like cookies and whatever. But he's also ridiculously active. So like when he got a blood test, and the doctors asked him afterwards if he was a vegetarian because his blood profile was just like, it looked like that. And no, he's not. He eats like sausages and, you know, burgers and whatever and all this sugar. But because he's so damn active, he has the blood test results of a vegetarian. It's interesting. Guy? Oh, you're a guy. Okay, yeah. My ex is 5'9", 15. Okay, see, I don't even know how that compares to me because I've already forgotten what my imperial measurements are. She used to be a college athlete, got her back to exercising. She stayed the same weight, but got really toned. Yeah, I could definitely do more with fitness, but I find it hard to exercise because I hate being sweaty and I hate showering and yeah, I can do stretches and like some of the strength stuff. So like sit ups and the whole candlestick thing. But I I don't like exercising. That's probably my biggest challenge. So when I was depressed, I had a checklist of things to do. So sleep, diet, exercise, keeping busy, helping people. And then there was one more, but I guess it wasn't that important. I added it quite late. But sleep I'm doing okay at the moment. Apart from me getting stressed about this situation, looking after my disabled brother, and then smelling smoke in the middle of the night or fire smells. Sleep, diet, I'm doing better. I mean, my mum cooks good food, a variety and all that. So and I'm able to eat more of it. So I think my diet's a lot better than it used to be. But exercise is the hardest thing because I don't like the feeling of exercise and also not having a band and not going to rehearsal. At rehearsals, I tend to jump around and like, you're also singing, so you're using your diaphragm, which is exercise on its own, and you're using your breath, so you get a lot more of that aerobic exercise. But because I don't have a band, I don't have incentive to do that stuff, and I don't have a weekly thing to go to do it, so it's been really hard for me to motivate myself to do aerobic exercise. Imperial, I don't know why they call it standard. Well, I can imagine Americans calling imperial measurement standard because in America it is standard. It's just like for the rest of the world, we're like, yeah, no, it isn't. Girls are online here too, but some are doing very weird stuff, begging with their kids cleaning the house. I don't know, but I've seen I think we had a discussion in the community tab about ASMR videos and people making all kinds of weird stuff there, and some people they let their kids make ASMR things, and like on the one hand I'm sure some of it is plenty innocent, but there's gonna be some pedophiles watching that stuff, I gotta say, because ASMR's weird. Although the weirdest ones are the ones done by heavy metal guys and whatever, because that breaks the theory that ASMR is only about girls with boobs whispering into a camera. So there's clearly something going on with the ASMR, but I don't think I'll ever understand it. And it's kind of interesting that there's a heavy metal version, but I tried watching it and I just couldn't stop cringing at how awful it was, and I just couldn't watch it. I was an athlete in college, played soccer and ate like crazy, couldn't keep weight on, those consuming about 7,000 calories per day. I don't really know calories very well, but yeah, he's kind of like that. And then, also being half Asian, his body just has always been a lot smaller. So he's actually really good at sport. He's got a really good head for it, knowing the strategy, and all that, but his body is just small. So he used to get injuries a lot and he doesn't play as much these days, especially like now he has a proper job. We used to have eating contests. The athletes always out-ate the fatter people. That doesn't surprise me. In eat have you seen those eating contest dudes? They actually do training to be able to eat as much as they do. It freaks me out. ASMR, weird people. There are creepy chicks on here. Eh? It used to be different on YouTube. What do you mean by creepy chicks? Because I guess I watch more YouTube than I used to, but I tend to watch either educational stuff or commentary on social issues. So I haven't really found the weirder side of YouTube. All the ASMR YouTube suggestions for me are of sexy women, good on the eyes, but not really my thing. Yeah. I think that the girls definitely seem to come up earlier in the ASMR searches when I was looking that up. But then I was like, I wonder if there's heavy metal ASMR, and that's when I found all the dudes. And e-beggars clean houses. Yeah, I don't know what the cleaning house thing is, but yeah, okay. I don't know, I guess there's always some weird stuff going on online. That's the creeps to me. Yeah. I don't know, I haven't kept up. I know, I was pretty weird when I started on YouTube though, because what I was talking about, vampires and stuff, and some of the weird shit going on in my head. Hmm? Type it. Oh, maybe we'll see. Oh, well, I'm not at my computer, so I kind of can't type anything. I'm just doing it on my phone. And actually, well, I'm down to 33% battery. It's 3 o'clock, so I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be able to go. But if you've got questions, you should probably start asking them now because, yeah, I don't know at what point I'm going to have to stop live streaming. So, and if you've just tuned in, say hi so I can see who's here. They got that one chick that does ASMR, but she's just cleaning her house? Eh? Nothing exciting, lol. That's normal, sane, weird what you did. Oh my god, I used to be so paranoid when I was younger that people could read my mind, which is hilarious now that I just go on a line and blurt whatever's in my head. But yeah, I used to be really paranoid. I suppose because though, you know, I grew up in a Catholic family and I went to a Catholic school and like I was going to church on Sundays back then. So, you know, I was probably more aware of the stuff in my head not really conforming to what was expected of me. So there's that. Um, but yeah, no, I used to be worried that people could read my mind. Um, yeah. But I don't know. I think last night I was gonna start talking about the whole destroyer thing and like where it came from, and I don't know. Maybe at some point I should talk about how it left. But I feel like some of that gets into a little bit of personal stuff, um, and you know, some of it is just like you grow out of things. And I I'm sure some of you who've been around for ages may have been watching when I've been like, oh, I've grown out of that now. And then like a month later would be like, no, I haven't actually. And then every time I thought I'd grown out of it, I hadn't. But I think this time I kind of have. There's only occasions where where I feel a little bit like, maybe I haven't quite grown out of it, but it doesn't last the way it used to. Imagine if you really could read minds. Yeah, well, you know when you watch TV shows and they have like mind reading kind of stuff, and it's always like the way it's presented in those TV shows, it kind of seems like a sensible power to have. But if you think about reality, I don't know how much you guys sort of observe your own thoughts, but quite often they're not even in linear English or whatever your preferred thinking language is. Sometimes, like, you know, it tends to just be a jumble of like snippets of words and images, and sometimes it's not even connected to either. It's just like you just know a thing, and then if you want to turn it into words, you have to think, you have to process that idea into actual words. So if someone was trying to read your mind, they just get a jumble of all this stuff. They wouldn't get you know, phrases like in those TV shows. So I think, you know, if you could really read minds, you'd just go crazy trying to interpret it. Lots of guys could get slapped by women. Oh my god. Yeah, that makes me think a little bit of some of the stuff going on in society, Western society anyway. Because I think some of those women's movements have maybe made things a little bit more awkward instead of making things better, but it's like it's a hard balance to get, hey. Because like on the one hand, like now some guys are like really paranoid that if they say the wrong thing, they're gonna get in heaps of trouble, even if they didn't mean it as a bad thing. And you know, like even in a regular social interaction, not between guys and girls, like I've occasionally said things that someone's misinterpreted, and it's heaps awkward. And I'm like, no, I didn't mean it like that. That's not, you know, it's so hard for people to really understand. Like communication can break down so easily. So yeah. God, if people could read each other's minds, you would definitely get some problems. Although on the other hand, I suppose, like, you'd maybe get the more honest and like full story of what someone was thinking. But on the other hand, you know, sometimes you might think a really bad thought, but that doesn't mean you're gonna do it. So, you know, lots of dudes would know not to pay beggars. Imagine if dumb dudes could know chicks are using them. I think there's also a fetish thing though, where like women I haven't looked into it, but like women will ask for money as like a power thing, and then these guys who are like, is it financial submission or something? They'll pay those chicks as like a fetish thing. I don't know. I don't understand it, but apparently like there's a fetish for everything. It's just like I didn't even know until after I did the glasses video that glasses fetish was a thing. It's only like when that video became stupidly popular, and I got some weird comments mainly on Facebook. Someone found me there, but also on YouTube. I'm just like, oh my god, those kinds of guys are pathetic, but that's rare. Most dudes think they are getting somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I hung out with some BDSM guys. Like they do little meetings at like restaurants or somewhere. So like there's none of the weird shit actually happening, but they will tend to talk about it, and I think that's how they try to meet people. So because I was sort of, it's an interesting culture. And some of the fashion, like some of the people dressed up really interesting. Like there were the cat girls. There was this one, like I think she's gone on to become some kind of model for like an overseas agency of cat girls or something. And then you'd get a lot of interesting gothic fashion. But yeah, no. It's a sort of, it's an interesting group of people, and some of them are into some really weird stuff. So if you think about how big the internet is, someone somewhere is going to be into some of this stuff. I mean, I didn't stick around because that's like a escort. Okay, I'm not really familiar with everything. Like I got frustrated with hanging out with those people because even if they claimed that things weren't about sex, it totally was. Like everything would come back to that, and I just got really bored with that. And it's not my area, So I was just like, oh, if that's just what you're going to talk about, I'm not really interested. But no, it was definitely interesting to get their perspective. Like as I was saying last night, I like learning about all these interesting little groups and like the people who are considered weirdos by mainstream society. So yeah, what's that? Yep. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much, with the internet, you can really find some fascinating stuff that you wouldn't find otherwise in mainstream culture. That's because those guys are hitting on you and trying to get it on with you, lol. Oh no, it's not necessarily like they were talking to me about, because I guess I was unusual because like when you go to those things, you have to sort of say whether or not you want to be like dominant or submissive, and I was like, fuck, I'm not being submissive. And I think it's usually the other way around. Usually the girls are submissive and the guys are the dominant ones. So when I went in saying, no, fuck that, I'm going to be on one of the dominant people, there's not as many submissive guys, so there were less people harassing me in that sense. So like it's good that I said that because then I didn't get as much trouble. But you would get like some of the guys on the dominant side of things like talking to you like I guess like talking shop, and because you're sort of on the same side, even though you'd never hang out together, kind of like, even though you'd never have a kind of relationship together, you're kind of on the same side of that equation. So then they talk to you more as like an equal rather than someone that they're potentially going to oppress or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it still generally didn't go anywhere that I was interested in. So you're a dominatrix.